Oh yeah. And we back, and yeah. Hey, this ain't no intro. This that entree. Did that intro with Kanye and sound like Andre. Trying to turn my baby mama to top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be, wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy Aunt Mo. Anthony Moore, for those of you who may not know for sure, traveling out of studio near you, and that's the Mind of a Man studio. And welcome to the network, man. It's the network, dog. And you going to get these sports, bruh. Oh, yeah. You going to get them. And, man, we got a full docket today, man. Thank you for everybody who has been patient, who has been rolling along with your boy. You know what I'm saying? Because it took a little time. Shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step two. So, man, listen. Welcome to another episode of You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh, man. For those of you who've seen the thumbnail, stick around and stay. You come on back round now. You hear? Show them boys how you do it up in Harlem there, boy. And for those of you who are repeat offenders, repeat listeners, repeat watchers, I love you from the bottom of my corazón. You feel me? And so with that being said, man, listen, we got to start this thing off right. I am tired. Sick and tired, and I got the shirt on for those of you who may not know. For those of you who may be watching, looking, and listening. I got a Dallas Cowboys shirt on. You feel me? I'm tired of Jerry Jones feeding us a bunch of nonsensical dreams of things that ain't going on about the Dallas Cowboys, who they are, how good they are, if they're contenders, why he does the things that he actually does, and if it's a benefit, if it's something that we should actually be watching, dedicating our time to, dedicating our money and merch to. Let me start off by saying this. Your Dallas Cowboys are, in fact, not a good football team. I repeat, the 2025 Dallas Cowboys, America's team, in air quotes, are not a good football team. We have been sold a lie, the old bait and switch, if you will. And I will give you a few pointers and a few reasons why I believe that is true. To quote Stephen A. Smith himself, what can go wrong will go wrong. So if we look at the two games that have happened thus far, the Cowboys are 1-1. They are tied with your Washington Commanders, in fact. The Eagles are leading the division, and of course, the New York Football Giants are the dump of the division. It is what it is. If any of you guys call yourselves representatives of the NFC East and your team is the New York Football Giants, congratulations. You get to be whatever we want you to be. I don't care if they only scored 3 to 6 points the first week or if they scored 34 against the Dallas Cowboys. A win is a win is a win. But if we look at what has happened thus far with the Cowboys, it is the thing that we have seen for a decade. 2 decades plus now. The Cowboys play down to their competition, and then they play up to teams that aren't competition. Did I say that right? Let's rewind. They play down to teams that they shouldn't beat, that they should beat, and they play up to the teams that they shouldn't beat. I.e., the first game of the season, the first team to watch is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles on the national scene, okay? We don't have the numbers on what it looks like, but what we do know is that the Dallas Cowboys chose to play like a playoff team against a playoff team. Dak Prescott looked like an MVP candidate again. Cedarius Lamb, the first and second quarter, I'll even go third quarter, is looking like an all Pro Bowl, all first team, whatever receiver in the NFL. With George Pickens getting some work here and there. Javonte Williams is running the ball. Miles Sanders does what he does, being a former Philadelphia Eagle. And then what happens? He breaks off for a 40, 50-yard run, Miles Sanders, and then he fumbles the next time he touches the ball in the red zone. Cedarius Lamb turns into a pumpkin and has, to my count, I don't care what everybody else says. If it touches those hands of yours, those mitts, those second highest receiver in the NFL mitts, you are, in fact, supposed to catch that ball. So, to my count, Sedarius Lamb has 4 drop passes in that game. And you should be ashamed of yourself, sir, because it is an echoing sentiment of what this team has represented for almost 30 years now. And Stephen A. Smith has coined it correctly. What can go wrong will, in fact, go wrong. Ready to take the lead in the game, Miles Sanders, who has never played for the Cowboys before, does a very Cowboy-esque thing. It's like driving in the end zone and you have a 3rd and 4th and goal, and then we score, but somebody has a false start. Somebody holds. This is the history of the Dallas Cowboys for most of the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever generation is 30 and below. This is what they know the Cowboys to be. CeeDee Lamb. Absolutely. Siri, I did not call you. I said CeeDee Lamb. Go away. Y'all always listen. Feds always watching. But your number one target, your highest paid receiver on this team, the go-to guy, the guy who I believe in, Sedarius Lamb, chooses to drop, and I'm going to say chooses. I know it could be over the top, whatever. Drops 3 passes. Most people would say 4 because of that late deep ball, whatever. But we're not talking about, this is 3rd down. If CD catches the ball, we are moving in their territory to take the lead again. There's a recurring theme from the Dallas Cowboys that what can go wrong will go wrong. Stephen A. Smith is not wrong. He is right. But I hate that he's so right that we can telegraph how these games are going to go from your Dallas Cowboys. So we have a game where everybody thought pretty much that the Cowboys should have been blown out of the water. And they find a way to pull defeat from the jaws of a victory. 0-1. Auntie. Hey, Auntie. What's going on? Great to see you as always. Appreciate your love. So, then the Cowboys play at home. I don't think you hear me. The Cowboys play at home against the lowly Giants, who mustered a measly 3 to 6 points against the Washington Commanders. And at home, give up 30-plus points to Russell Wilson. Now, we all know who Malik Neighbors is. He is a beast in every way possible. 2 touchdowns. Was it 3 touchdowns? 2 touchdowns for sure. Lights it up. There's nobody that can hold him. We have yet to talk about Trevon Diggs and what he can. I don't know what happened to this young man. But I guess 2 knee surgeries, rightfully so, could have a grave impact on a guy that his strong suits were based off of athleticism and speed, not skill at the cornerback position, because he was a wide receiver going into playing at Alabama. Only played, 2 years? So he doesn't have an extensive history outside. He's played in the NFL longer at cornerback than he ever played anywhere else in his career. But he's getting toasted everywhere on the field. This is just what it is. I am a fan of Trevon Diggs, but that young man is getting toasted all over the field. Oh, Deron Bland, the guy who you just signed to an extension, 3 to 4 years, $90-something million. He's out again with an injury. We have yet to see the 2 high-paid cornerbacks that we paid, that all the 11 pick-6 for Trevon Diggs 1 year, 6 pick-6s for Deron Bland 1 year. They have yet to play together and have yet to show that they are worth the money that the Cowboys have paid for them. We are still setting the tone for what can go wrong will go wrong. Now, a W is a W is a W. Don't get me wrong here. But all I'm saying is we gave up Micah Parsons, which I wasn't mad about. We gave up Micah Parsons for a player or some picks or whatever that were going to help us win right now. So we give up. All I'm saying is the Philadelphia Eagles game doesn't mean much when Dak plays well against them anyway, number one. Number two, it's a division game. Their offense is not going to blow you away most weeks. Why? Because they depend on the legs of Jalen Hurts, the legs of Saquon Barkley, and the tush push primarily. Now, we got something to get to a little later on about what makes the Philadelphia Eagles so effective. But for right now, all we're going to say is the defense was looking pretty spectacular and solid outside of giving up 2 rushing touchdowns to Jalen Hurts, which still doesn't make any sense to me why you don't put a spy on him when you get inside the 20. A guy like that should never be left to roam free to hurt you like that. Because if you take away one of those touchdowns, we have a different result. But if ifs was a fifth, we all be drunk. Shout out to Dorothy Louise. So we continue on. The Cowboys find a way to still win the game. They send Aubrey out there, and he kicks a 64-yarder to take it to overtime. They go possession for possession. Russell Wilson gets the ball and does what Russ does. Russ cooks, and then, as I heard somebody say, then he burns the food. Throws it up for grabs. We come down, kick the field goal. Congratulations. Now we play against the Bears next. Might I add, we need to understand the Cowboys traditionally don't play well against certain teams. The Bears are one of those teams. Yes, we beat the Bears a few years ago with Jalen, whatever his name is, Justin Fields. I'm sorry, with Justin Fields. But in us scoring 40-something, we gave up another almost 30 to them. And if I'm not mistaken, that game was actually here in Arlington. So I don't know where this next game is being played at, but all I'm saying is I would caution you that guy is a lot better than he was a year ago. That offensive line of his is a lot better than it was a year ago. So this is no easy pickings if we're going to Soldier Field, to go to Soldier Field and beat the Chicago Bears. I would just caution you guys to slow down a little bit and see how this plays out. Because in this game, the last game that we just seen against the New York Football Giants, Dak did give up that pick because Dak going to give up a little booty every now and then. Dak going to give it up now. You get Dak a couple drinks, he going to start telling you the whole play. You understand what I'm saying here? So what can go wrong will go wrong. The Cowboys play up to teams that they should lose to, and they play down to teams that they should blow out. Now, the high points. Saquon Barkley only had about 60 yards in that game. So to say that we stopped the run is no small thing. As a matter of fact, I don't believe the Giants did any better outside of you had Russell Wilson running up straight up the middle for about 20-plus yards late in the game. That cannot happen under any circumstance. So if we're going to invest into stopping this run, we need to do it consistently because a guy like Russ, his running days are far beyond. But in the instance of Saquon, that was the lowest running game that he's had in 17 games. So you say go back to week 1 of last year. He's not had a worse output since then. So for the guy who had the scoring, who had the rushing title, could have broke the rushing record, arguably the MVP of the league last year, that's not a bad thing. So at least if we're going to give up Micah Parsons for a somewhat over-the-hill defensive tackle, 2 first-round picks, at least we better be able to stop the run better than we did last year. So far, so good. We checking out. Now, this is what I also want you to understand, that Micah Parsons would not have mattered in a game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Be honest with yourself and think to yourself, did I ever see a moment in that game where I said, man, where Mike at? I wish if we had Micah right now, we would have did X, Y, and Z. He wasn't going to stop Dallas Goedert from catching all those passes. A.J. Brown only had one catch the entire game. Don't remember anything Devontae Smith did. Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert literally single-handedly ruined that game for the Dallas Cowboys. And if you don't create turnovers, if you don't cause turnovers on yourself with the fumble by Miles Sanders, at just that alone, I mean, for all intents and purposes, Jalen Carter did not play a snap in that game. Spit on Dak, he was gone before the first offensive play of the game. The most disruptive defensive tackle in all of football outside of Chris Jones did not play. Riddled by injury early in the season were the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys could not find a way to capitalize. Now, this was supposed to be a high point, but the point is, if you're going to stop Saquon, you're sure as heck better find a way to stop Jalen. My issue overall is that Jerry Jones wants to take credit for something that he didn't do. Right? If you look at the documentary, if you listen to him talk to Stephen A., at the end of the day, you can't be the greatest gambler ever and be the most savvy football GM that we've ever seen. They don't even match up. It's like saying a kingpin could be the greatest dad or something. I don't know. I mean, which I know you got a little more time on your hand when you're selling drugs, but that ain't even the point. Forget I ever said it. But my point is, Jerry, stop living in the past. The 90s were just that, the 90s. You're still talking about a Herschel Walker trade when, okay, let me ask you guys this. Have you ever heard of a saying that says success leaves clues? If you have, there should be traces of the Dallas Cowboys sniffing an NFC championship or a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. Because when you look at, check, can you hear me? Check, 1, 2. It might be the headphones, but I don't have sound. Okay. All right. Anyway, I continue on. So, success leaves clues. If you look at the Giants, the Eagles, not the Commanders, because they still haven't been to a Super Bowl anytime soon, but if you look at the Ravens, any team, Pittsburgh Steelers, any of these teams have been back to the Super Bowl. Even the Cincinnati Bengals have been to a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been to a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. The Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks have been to the Super Bowl in the last 30 years. The Cleveland Browns are probably the only team that haven't been to the Super Bowl in the last 30 years. Okay, so I thank you guys for tapping in. Yes, I've heard that before. Yes, success leaves clues. And Auntie said I could hear you. Okay, so I got a short in this cord over here, so I was just making sure that it wasn't going over to you guys and gals as well. But the point is, we can go on and on and on. Let's not forget the New England Patriots. Let's not forget the Denver Broncos. Let's not forget the Carolina Panthers. What about the Colts? Have the Colts been to the Super Bowl? Yes, the Colts have been to the Super Bowl in the last 30 years with Peyton Manning. If I sit here and think about it, a lot of these teams in the NFL have found a way in a league that is based off of parity, meaning that anybody during any year could win. The Cowboys have found a way not to win on the highest level when it matters most, with a team that is predicted to be a winner. The Arizona Cardinals have been to a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. Larry Fitzgerald. As the teams keep coming to me, I keep showing you. Now, mind you, not everybody's been. But in the last 30 years, more teams that weren't touted as America's team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, the Buffalo Bills haven't been back. But we'll see what it looks like this year. Because we will be talking about Patrick Mahomes. Is that dynasty over? We will be getting to that here soon and very soon. We will be going to see the king. All right. So we'll get to that right now, actually. Patrick Mahomes and your Kansas City Chiefs. Is it over for them? Have they did the best that they'll do? That'll do, pig. That'll do. Whatever you think, let me hear it in the comments. But I got some things that I want to bring up, and I want you to tell me if they sound familiar. Travis Kelce, extremely frustrated on the sidelines and on the field. Now, this one's in a little outside. Chris Jones mumbling off stats when they're kneeling the ball after they're about to lose the game. You ain't even got 100-yard rushing. Why does that matter, son? The receivers are underperforming. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, who was a part of one of those 3 Super Bowls that you already won. Eric Bieniemy has been gone for 2 years. One of the greatest football minds and running back coaches that we've seen. Xavier Worthy gets hurt by Travis Kelce, who admits that he ran the wrong route, and that's why he ran into his teammate. Rashee Rice was hurt week 4 of last year, so he didn't get to play in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes had a high ankle sprain when they first played the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl, and iced the game by having like a 30-yard run against all odds. Nobody spotted him. He took advantage of the situation. Okay. Here's the reality. No one cares. Not a soul on the planet outside of a player or fan of the Kansas City Chiefs cares about the fact that y'all are not doing well. That you're 0-2, which, by the way, this is the first time that the Kansas City Chiefs have been 0-2 since 2014. Was Patrick Mahomes thought of as the quarterback of that team in 2002? No. Since he has been a starter, they have never went 0-2. This is some other things that we need to know. That Andy Reid has always got the praise for being the brainchild, no matter what Eric Bieniemy did, even for the development of Patrick Mahomes. This is what we know to be true. Can you name me a star receiver that Patrick Mahomes has had that is over excelled while he was playing with the Kansas City Chiefs? Anybody? What is the greatest receiver that Patrick Mahomes has played with? And how did it go? Tyreek Hill was by far the greatest receiver that Patrick Mahomes ever played with. They won a Super Bowl together. Tyreek Hill has been gone for a few years, quite a few years now. Outside of Tyreek Hill, even when Tyreek Hill was there, who was the other great receiver? Wasn't a receiver. It was Travis Kelce, correct? Correct. Very good, boys and girls. So him not having, this isn't the first time that we've heard about the running backs underperforming, being hurt. This isn't the first time we've heard about the receivers. Well, who is his greatest? The greatest thing about the last Super Bowl they won was that there was no great receiver on that team. Very Tom Brady-esque. Yet, your Kansas City Chiefs have still found a way to win, to survive, get to the playoffs, and then thrive. Here's some stats that we need to know about this team being 0-2. Because all I want is for people to embrace the reality that this dynasty might just be done. And I'm not saying that because I got a bet with Cash for $500 that says that Patrick Mahomes doesn't win 5 Super Bowls before his career is over. It's not just because of that. But anomalies only happen for stuff like Patrick Mahomes being injured or being out for the season. Like when Tom Brady got injured, when he suffered his knee injury and then they went 11-5, they didn't make the playoffs. Stuff like that doesn't happen on a regular basis, right? So here's the stats. Since 1970, only 43 teams have managed to reach the playoffs. And that was like 43 teams. That was like 43 teams out of 400 and something teams, right? So 10.1% of the teams make the playoffs starting 1 and 2. Your 2 notable teams in 2022, the Cincinnati Bengals went 0-2 and made the playoffs. In 2023, the Houston Texans went 0-2 and made the playoffs. Here's the rarity: Super Bowl victories. So basically, your 1993 Dallas Cowboys, you see the shirt, the 2001 New England Patriots, and the 2007 New York Football Giants are the only 3 teams to start 0-2 and win a Super Bowl. Emmitt Smith did not play in those first 2 games. He was on a contract holdout. He actually didn't have a contract. So he was a free agent. They went 0-2. Jerry said, enough is enough. Pay the man. And the rest is history. So all I'm saying is, can it be done? Yes. Now, when we line this up, right, when we look at those stats, is Patrick Mahomes greater than Joe Burrow? He's got 3 Super Bowls, although Joe Burrow is one of the few to take him down in the AFC Championship. But yes, he is greater. So anytime you have one of the greatest arms and football minds, both in Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you always stand a great chance of being able to survive and then be able to get some healthy players back and then turn the season around. So it's not impossible. That core team that Kansas City has was way better than the core team that the Cincinnati Bengals had in 2022. Now, if we look at 2023, so this is another thing. When we look at the Houston Texans, right? 1 second, I don't know why that's saying that. Hold on 1 second. I don't know why that's doing that. So, if we look at a quarterback like C.J. Stroud, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I watched him the other night. He looked terrible. That's my humble opinion. I'm not saying the kid's bad. He just looked terrible to me. Missing easy throws, can't move the chains. I don't know how well they've done at helping him with that line because his line was atrocious. But he just doesn't look good. This is looking worse than a sophomore slump because now he's in his 3rd season. And there was a lot of expectations for him. Seems like a sharp, smart kid. But the execution is not there, and now you find yourself 0-2 again. You lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. They drive the ball late to score. Now, talk about putting your foot in your mouth. Baker Mayfield looks exceptional as a quarterback now. Started out with whoever drafted him. Was it the Cleveland Browns? Was he with them the whole time before he left? I can't remember who he got drafted by. I think it was the Cleveland Browns. But anyway, started out with them, and that was a disaster. But it seems like everything that comes out of Cleveland is a disaster. But now we look at him with Tampa Bay, threw for 4,000 yards last year. Great touchdown to pick ratio. Composed, poised quarterback. Great spiral on the ball. This kid is playing some great football. Playing great quarterback. And when I personally did not think he would look this good in the NFL, and I wasn't by myself. A lot of people thought it was a mistake to jump up and draft him at 1. He's making a lot of people eat their words. So anyway, is Patrick Mahomes greater than C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans team? Completely, obviously, yes. So with that being said, they have the greatest chance out of those last two teams to do something that has rarely been done, and that is in making the playoffs, of course. But when we look at the other two teams, the other three teams that won, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, that was the dynasty. The Giants won in 2007, 2009. The 2001 New England Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, is that the team that beat the greatest show on turf, that beat the St. Louis Rams? Correct me if I'm wrong about that. So the reality still is you're going to have to be in rarefied air to beat a team like that. I mean, to fight through the minutia of what could be going on. I think they can still do it. Who are you talking about? The Kansas City Chiefs that you think can still do it? Because I mean, I ain't mad at you if that's what you think. I'm not so sure that that's what's going to happen. So playoff chances 10%. When you talk about winning the Super Bowl, now we got to look at three teams out of 400 and something teams. The chances are starting to get astronomical because we have to look at this. The Cincinnati Bengals just lost their quarterback for 3 months, but Joe Burrow has been slinging the pill around crazy for the last couple years. So we don't know what he's going to look like after the turf toe. We don't know if the Cincinnati Bengals will still be in contention once he gets back. Then we also have to take into account, how does he gel with the team? How does he gel with his receivers? Does it make a difference that he's been sitting around, healing up? How does he ail that? How does he fix that? But then when you look at the other teams in that division, you look at the Chargers, are they looking a lot better? They're looking like Justin Herbert has made a step to be one of the top guys at quarterback now. He's looking like he is really ready to take a step into the next stratosphere of being a quarterback in the NFL. Yes, the Chiefs. I'll check back in a few weeks to see if I still agree with my statement. You go check back. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. I'm going to check back. But, yeah, so you have the Cincinnati Bengals. You have the Kansas City Chiefs. You have the Chargers. And then you have the Oakland Raiders, who they didn't look too hot last night. But the first week, they actually looked pretty good. Sidebar, I have Ashton Genty on my fantasy team. It wasn't a guy I was trying to draft. He doesn't look that great, to be honest. But I'm going to need y'all to find a way to scheme this guy to get the ball and be open. So here's what the Chiefs actually run into. They run into understanding, number one, and this is why I caution people to be very careful about making statements about things that are certain in any sport. Because just like in any sport, it is a war of attrition. It is a game of attrition, meaning players are going to get hurt. They're going to get injured. Some are going to be season-ending. Some are going to be soft tissue injuries that are reoccurring throughout the year, like a hamstring, oblique injuries, back injuries. You're going to have to get shot up. You know, it's just certain things that happen in a game. Sometimes the team is just going to go on low. Sometimes you go from the East Coast to the West Coast and you play like trash. Sometimes you're a warm weather dome team and then you have to go play in the snow. All of these different things make such a difference in the expectation and the outcome of a season. It's only so many times that you can not have your best receivers healthy. It's only so many times that you can get a high ankle sprain and play through it. It's only so many times that you could risk having your linemen get hurt. Linemen get hurt all the time, get rolled up on, knees get blown out. They're in the trenches. That's how it happens. Just think. Patrick Mahomes, in the Super Bowl that he lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I seen his he lost both his guards before the Super Bowl. So he had no way to truly protect himself. And I saw this guy make some of the most amazing passes, running 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, slinging the ball, hitting a guy in the chest that dropped the ball. So imagine if he wins that Super Bowl, it's not a guarantee that he wins the other ones because there's so many factors that could play a part. Who knows, he was going to lose 2 guards the season that he lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Philadelphia Eagles, stop running the ball in the second half. The #1 run offense in the NFL the last 2 to 3 years, stop running the ball in the second half of the Super Bowl with a lead. Make it make sense. So there are too many factors that play a part. That's all I'm saying. This game is a game of attrition. You're going to lose people. You're going to gain people. Some people aren't going to play their best. Some people are going to drop key third down passes. Pat Mahomes is going to throw interceptions. This is all a part of the game. Pacheco runs so hard. He's a little guy. He runs hard. Those guys end up getting hurt. He's been hurt a lot, honestly. Travis Kelce is getting older. Can't beat double teams the way he used to. Stuff is moment in time type stuff at times, and I need us to be real about that because then we can temper our expectations. By the way, Red Kingdom, y'all real quiet these days. Real quiet these days. We don't hear anything. Keep that same energy. You was big and bad. Stay big and bad. You want to talk? You want to run your mouth? Keep going. I want that same energy. Because y'all was big and bad. Y'all was lucky if you buck. Now y'all ain't that. It's okay. We don't want you to listen. Listen, talk the same noise. If we playing one-on-one in basketball, talk that noise when you down 6-0 about to get skunked and I got the ball as when you up 6-0 and you got the ball. Don't get quiet on me. I need to hear you, Chief Kingdom. I need to hear you. Because he was going to win 10 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes going to win 8 Super Bowls. It's the NFL. That stuff don't happen all the time. It never happens. Tom Brady is an anomaly. And i.e., he is still the greatest quarterback to ever lace them up. Why? Because his rings say so. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Why? Because his rings say so. His dominance says so. Patrick Mahomes is yet to dominate a decade like Tom Brady dominated for decades. This is just common sense. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. 3 + 2 is 5. My daughter, they don't even do that no more, kinfolk. They call it bonding. 3 and 2, if you bond 3 with 2, it equals 5. I'm like, damn, 3 + 2 is 5. If you bond 4 with 3, it's 7. 3 + 4 is 7, baby. Some people bamboozling me. Anyway, my last 2 statements. No one cares about excuses or injuries or personnel changes. The bottom line is this. To quote Al Davis, the great longtime Oakland Raiders coach. Just win, baby. Just win. We don't want to hear nothing else. I don't care about the Kelsey and the Taylor Swifties. I don't care about none of that. Win football games. Get back to the Super Bowl. Because that's the expectation that's on you now. We don't care about your injuries. Moving right along. Bruce Wayne Glass, dog. What took you so long to get in here, dog? Dog, what's wrong? What's up, dog? You hurt my heart. I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. You hurt my heart, dog. It's good to see you, dog. It's good to see you now. Let me be clear with you. It's good, always good when old Bruce Wayne Glass show up in the building. You feel me? Well, what took you so long? What took you so long, dog? Anyway, man, you missed some Cowboys talk, man. I will say this, since Bruce Glass is in the building, let me go ahead and get to it. This is not on script, but let's talk about it. Now, I will be fair. Bruce Glass is not one of the ones that said that the Washington Commanders were going to make it to the Super Bowl. He did not say that, so I'm not going to put smut on his name. But I will caution all of you Washington Commanders fans. Jaden Daniels is real light in the butt, real light in the culo, real light in the keister, okay? He's out with a knee sprain, supposedly. Mariota ain't going to continue to get out there and win you games. I repeat, Mariota, the backup, is not going to continue to go out there and win you games. Some of that stuff is pipe dream stuff. Not every year that Dak Prescott got hurt was Cooper Rush going to be able to go out there and win 5, 6, 7, 8 games. It just doesn't work like that in the NFL. So I caution you, much like the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 0-2, you better hope your quarterback gets back healthy quick. But here's another thing. Austin Eckler. We all knew when we saw the injury, when guys come up limp and they reach back for that back foot, we know what it is. Non-contact injuries with knees and feet, we know what that is. Your ACL is done for the year when you reach for that knee, non-contact. When you reach for that Achilles, you're done for the year because it's torn. I remember I was playing basketball at the gym one time. It was just regular pickup. And this guy, he's a little scraggly guy. I ain't gonna lie to you. He was out there. He was out on a big T-shirt, the raggedy shorts. He just was something. He was a sight to see. But anyway, he stops and he says, "Hey!" Look behind him. "Why you kick me, man?" Now, sir, why would a grown man kick you in the back of your foot? That's the question. Why would a grown man kick you in your Achilles at regular rec ball? Your Achilles is torn, sir. I know this. It feels like someone kicked you. Now, heavens forbid something happened to my Achilles. Lord, I ain't trying to talk funny about nobody. I'm just saying. We all knew what happened to Austin Eckler, who was a great pickup, by the way. The same as was Ertz. I saw the makings of this team being very, very, very good. Let's be clear. The only if was if if Jaden Daniels was actually going to show up and execute. And by George, he did all the way to an NFC championship. This is a game of attrition. So things are going to happen. Players are going to get hurt. Losing somebody like him at the running back position still hurts you because he's a Swiss Army knife. He can catch the ball coming out the backfield. He can run the ball. He also understands blocking schemes. We also, we can get into it if y'all want to get into it. That's all I got to say. But you better hope your quarterback is out there. It's a reason that Mariota is his backup. He ain't a starter in the NFL, okay? So let's just get that out there. So the longer your quarterback is out, and we're seeing quarterbacks get hurt on a regular, but Jaden has to be very careful. I said this when he first came into the league. A kid like that, if we look at, because if we're being honest and we even look over at the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar is hurt, has been hurt regularly. If he didn't get hurt, matter of fact, I think something happened last week where he hopped up, but they said something was going on with him. Those guys are small. They're fast. They're quick. But they are also, when getting hit by 250, 265-pound linebackers and 300-something-pound linemen, they are very fragile and brittle. You have to temper when you run this guy. He has to develop being able to sit in the pocket and throw the ball a little bit more judiciously. And I'm not saying that he doesn't do it or he hasn't got better so far, but he likes to run the ball. So be careful. That's all I'm saying, Washington fans. Be very, very careful, okay? That's all I got to say. Because I'm waiting for y'all to sip that humble juice. Let me just raise my hand, kinfolk. I'm waiting for y'all to sip that humble juice, that humble pie. Because everybody, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, we're going to the Super Bowl. Cool. Keep that same energy, my friend. My dog Austin, he hit my line after the first week of Aaron Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Hey, who he throw his touchdowns to? I have no clue. Oh, it's gonna matter in a second here, Bucko. It's gonna matter here in a second. You just wait. Cowboys had just lost to the Eagles. He was waiting to brag about a 40-something-year-old quarterback. I'm like, listen, fam, I promise you, y'all better win and y'all better go to the Super Bowl because I am not going away. I'm not going away no time soon. And they got beat by 15 last week. You can't find a way to get DK Metcalf the ball. Biggest, strongest receiver in the NFL. You can't find a way to get him the ball. Got it. Everybody needs a little dose of humility. That's all I got to say. Now, to the last topic. There was a boxing match that happened this weekend, folks. For those of you who do not know, Terrence Bud Crawford took on Saul Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed title at 168 pounds. Bud Crawford, how many belts did he have? None. How many did Saul Canelo Alvarez have? He had all 4 of them. This is now the 4-belt era. Anybody want to tell me what happened? Anybody want to tell me what happened with that fight? Terrence Bud Crawford beat Saul Canelo Alvarez, natural born ass. And I didn't cuss, I said ass. A-H-H. He beat the brakes off of that young man. And in doing so, Terrence Bud Crawford became 3-time undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. He did it at 135. He did it at 147. We saw the beatdown that he gave my boy out of D-Town. I get it. It is what it is. And then he did it at 168. He fought one time at 154, skipped over 160, and fought at 168. He looked better at 168 than he did at 154. How, Sway? But that ain't Ralph, though. That ain't Ralph, though. How? First guy in the 4-belt era to be 3-time undisputed champion in boxing. 3 different weight divisions. Here's what I want people to understand about this. Canelo Alvarez fought exactly how he normally fights. Canelo Alvarez did what Canelo Alvarez does in every fight that he's had for the past 7 years. Might be longer than that. He has little movement. He throws 1 to 3 punches in a row, max. It's really 1 to 2 punches. He walks his opponents down. And he throws every punch as hard as he possibly can. Anybody want to tell me the disconnect? Because when he fought against Caleb Plant, same strategy. He was losing the fight, same way. Caleb Plant, way faster. Arms are way longer. Way bigger. How did Caleb Plant end up losing that fight? When he was doing Canelo similar to what Terrence was doing. He didn't do it like Terrence, but he was beating him similarly. He was moving around in the ring. He was using his IQ, his quickness. He was using his jab, primarily his jab, to keep Canelo off of him. But what ended up happening? Canelo continued to walk forward, continued to throw hard punches. He was there to be hit, but Caleb Plant gassed out in the 10th or 11th round. So when Canelo ends up stopping him, he really just stopped him because Caleb Plant was too tired to do anything else. He did everything that he could do. And I think at the end he was grateful that he made it there. But this is the norm that we've seen from Canelo for 10 years now. Canelo used to be a boxing savant. Canelo used to be able to move around. His defense was impeccable. Let's be clear. He had great defense the early part of that fight against Bud Crawford. But at some point, Bud felt that power and wasn't afraid of it. That's always going to be an issue for a guy who is as talented as Bud when he's fighting against an opponent. That's what he did to Errol Spence. He felt Errol's hardest punch and said, I'm good. Fast forward, he fights Canelo. I do not know the type of freak of nature that this man actually is, but he ate those punches from Canelo. What does that tell us about Canelo? What does that tell us about Canelo? Is Canelo washed up? Is he done? Is there more fight left in Canelo? Because this totally ruined whatever the plan was going to be moving forward. Let's be clear. I heard some people, I'm not going to say a lot of people, but I heard some people say that Canelo didn't want it. He wasn't as hungry. And I totally disagree. Canelo is who Canelo is. Canelo expected to walk him down, for his punches to hurt, to outlast him, to outthrow him. Hold on, baby. Do we got a super chat from Reese? Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. We got a super chat from Reese. She said, Crawford came prepared. He did his homework for sure. We were watching that fight together, and that boy, I had that anxiousness watching the Canelo fight, right? I had that anxiousness because I was like, is Bud going to really be able to withstand these punches? Salute to Ms. Reese for the super chat. You really like that, you feel me? So, yeah, I had that anxiousness, and I'm like, is he going to actually be able to withstand these punches? And then I got to about the fourth round, and I said, this boy getting his ass beat. I'm not cussing y'all. I will say that again. But I'm like, he getting his ass beat. That's just crazy to me. I was like, he has no answer. And then you got into the 8th or 9th round, and then there was the accidental headbutt. And Bud is in the heat of the moment. So he's believing that, oh man, maybe he's doing this on purpose. But if you look at it, it was absolutely accidental. It was not on purpose. Well, Canelo started to kind of put some energy, like he started kind of getting busy a little bit. And Bud sat down on those punches and nullified everything that was going on. Completely nullified everything that was going on coming from Canelo. It was spectacular. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like that from a moment that high, from an underdog, where it was, and I'm listening to Roy Jones Jr., I'm listening to all the greats. I'm listening to all the greats talk about how it's going to be Bud Crawford and it's not going to be close. And I'm like, y'all putting on. He can't hurt Canelo. If he can't hurt Canelo, he's not going to beat him. And I'll be danged if I thought he was going to stop Canelo late in that fight. I thought he was going to. If I believe that if he wouldn't have been running around so much, and by running around, I don't mean really running around. I mean, if he wasn't boxing and using that ring in the way that he was, I believe if he would have sat down on those punches late, like not 10 through 12, I believe he could have probably stopped Canelo. Because Canelo kept coming forward, but it wasn't with that same prowess that he normally has. What did Reese say? She said, "I thought that was going to affect Crawford, but when he got the headbutt, yes, I also thought the same thing. I'm like, it has the potential to change the trajectory of the fight." And I was saying, like, it was in Crawford's best interest to pretty much try to get Canelo out of there. Why? Because if anybody saw the super fight between Ann and what are those chicks' names, dog? I hate when I'm bringing up somebody I didn't think about. But the three that trilogy super fight. In the second fight, the girl got headbutted, and that meat from her eye was hanging, literally hanging down. And they wanted to stop the fight, but they didn't because it was the magnitude of the fight. And they ended, and mind you, it was the greatest trilogy of women's fighting we've ever seen. But anyway, the point is, what we've seen from Canelo is what Canelo does. And what we've seen from Bud is what Bud does. Maybe Madrimov was actually a more difficult opponent than what we ever realized. Because outside of Madrimov, he has completely destroyed every opponent that he has fought since moving up to 147. The guy's spectacular. So to answer the question of is Bud through, these are the facts. Canelo is 34 years old, but in boxing years, everybody thought that Canelo was older than Crawford. He's 3 years younger. But in boxing years, boxing dog years, I'll call it, he's older. He's definitely older. Canelo, as an amateur, was 44-2. When did he start boxing? At 13. When did he go pro? October 29, 2005. At age 15, he goes pro. He's fought from 147 to 175. He's fought at light heavyweight. It is what it is, man. I'm not so sure. That Canelo isn't done. But my thought is, Bud Crawford, what else do you have to prove to the boxing community? I get it. You're late to getting the bags because Top Rank wasn't taking care of you. They said they were losing money on what is now, can we safely say that Bud Crawford is the greatest fighter of our generation? And it's not close. Because even in the feats that Canelo has done to get undisputed, he's not went down a murderer's row like having to fight Errol Spence, no matter what we believe was his actual health, if his ribs were broken, if there was true damage from the accident, who cares? He got in the ring to fight and he lost. We can't be mad at it. But in fact, Saul Canelo Alvarez was fighting on Mexican Independence weekend. He had no rehydration clause, so that means that he could have been in there at 190 for all we know. And the pressure was not on him. Here's what we also have to realize, and shout out to Showbiz, even though I based a lot of my initial thoughts on the fight off of what Showbiz said. Showbiz the adult, shout out to you. Canelo Alvarez has made a great career out of fighting small guys. Canelo is a small guy that fights big, just like Jamel Crawford is a small guy that fights big at 154. But we saw what happened with Jamel fought Canelo. Wasn't close. He completely bullied him. Made him take a knee because he was probably going to get stopped if he didn't take a knee and gather himself. The power that Canelo possesses is not a joke. They have videos of him swelling guys' arms up. Guys that are 175, 168, swelling their arm up from the arm punches. Bud Crawford appeared to not have a scratch on him, not a stain on him. Hey, however that song go. Shout out to DSR. But it's interesting to me. Either Bud is some freak of nature that we've truly never seen. Canelo is done, or it's a mixture of both. Now, I read something today that said that they want to know, Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, wants to know if David Benavidez can actually make 168 because he wants to see him fight Bud Crawford. You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. He's gonna have to have true power that can really stop and knock out David Benavidez, because he's too active. He's far too active, and even though he doesn't have knockout power technically, he has beat you up power. And I'm talking about David Benavidez. This might be a bit outside of Bud's range. And you definitely better put a rehydration clause on that guy, who now fights at 175. So that means he probably definitely gets up to 190-something, 200 pounds. That might be the last of Bud Crawford. Now, if you're going to give him a bag, give him a bag. If you want to crown him, then crown him last. But you are who they thought we thought they were. Dang, I messed that up. Anyway, whatever. But I think Bud should retire. Bud has nothing else to prove. He is spectacular in every way. He is one of the greatest fighters ever, regardless of weight. I'm talking Muhammad Ali, and I'm talking about, in my personal opinion, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Pernell Sweet Pea, Whitaker, Mayweather, Crawford. And to be honest, Great Debaters reference. Wait, which? No. Wait. What are you saying is the Great Debaters reference? Please, because I don't think I did a Great Debaters reference. Don't embarrass me. What is the Great Debaters reference? But yes, I think Bud should retire. I don't think he has anything to give to boxing. He has money to get, but I don't think he has to prove anything else in boxing. You are great, sir. You have made a believer out of me. I no longer have anything negative to say in any capacity. I ain't gonna lie to you, kinfolk. If I'm keeping it a bean with y'all, I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all. I was hurt the way he did Errol. No, they were who we thought they were. Nah, that wasn't. No. That was an NFL coach. I forgot his name. He was the coach of Minnesota. That's the year that the Chicago Bears were really, 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 really good. And they ended up, I think, giving away the game. Like, Rex Grossman was the quarterback, I believe. Who's the great punt returner? Anyway, the team was good, but the quarterback was bad. And at the end of the game, the coach said, if you want to crown them, then crown their asses. But they were who we thought they were. So, yeah, that's what that was. That's a football reference. But anyway, to wrap this up, I absolutely believe that Bud Crawford should retire, even if there's money to be made. If he's not going to be fighting the Boots Ennis, if he's not going to be fighting somebody like that, if he's not going to go back and fight Spence or fight Jermell Charlo or somebody like that, I don't see the point in him chasing Ghost up at 168, 175 or something like that. If you're going to keep fighting, fight guys that are actually that weight class. That's just me. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying we don't know. So here's the thing about the human body as we know. When it comes to athleticism, some people are just different. You look at a LeBron James, whether people think he's been taking steroids or HGH, who cares? My point is, he's still executed at a high level. But how many guys do we see like LeBron James? How many guys do we see like a Tom Brady? We don't. Those guys are few and far between. That's why they are the GOATs. How many guys do we see like a Jerry Rice? That's why they are the GOATs. So when they drop off, they typically drop off pretty bad. And now those guys are getting bludgeoned or beat across the ring because they were chasing one last payday. I, for one, would love to see Bud Crawford walk away from boxing, much like Mayweather did, with all his faculties. Now, some people could argue Mayweather ain't got all his faculties. Something off with him. But that's neither here nor there. Personally, I would love to see Bud retire and ride off into the sunset. Either way, I'm appreciative of what I've been able to see once he has actually got on a stage and been able to execute and prove who he is. Bud Crawford is, pound for pound, one of the greatest fighters to ever put gloves on. And that, my friend, is not to be debated. Thank you for watching another episode of You Gonna Get These Sports, Bruh, on the network, the Mind of a Man Network. I believe that I have seen a lag here, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. We will be fixing that because I know how to fix that little red wagon. I'm going to have to get a capture card again. But the view looks amazing. I believe that I've fixed the things that I needed to fix when it comes to the camera. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate the love. We got new shows coming this week. We're talking Charlie Kirk, and we're talking what I will call basketball wives. So until next time, I love you. May the Lord keep you, kinfolk. We'll see you at the conference. Peace. Yes, sirski.